Hey people, welcome to the channel, and in this case, yes, talking again about Star Citizen. And in this case, it's gonna be Star Citizen versus Starfield. And also keep in mind, if you're thinking of playing Star Citizen, you have my referral code there below, so I appreciate if you use it. If you appreciate my honesty regarding what Star Citizen is and it is not, I would appreciate if you subscribe as well. But the referral code there will give you a little bit more extra money when you start playing, and my channel has several tutorials and videos helping you out so as to have the best experience when in Star Citizen. Now, as of what Star Citizen is or is not, one of the first things you have to understand is when people talk about Star Citizen versus Starfield and about, oh, it's not even the same thing, they're actually right. Star Citizen is not a single player game, but it's not a MMO game either. Star Citizen is really not even a game at all. It is actually a tech demo. It's not even an alpha. An alpha would be a game that is in development, in active, true development, which Star Citizen has long stopped to even pretend to be in. When they got rid of the roadmap, when year after year we really don't see any new relevant content being added or new a degree of progression year after year. The only thing you see is just new ships being sold, and anything added in terms of potential game loops only revolves around whatever new ship they can sell. It has transitioned from business model that used to be, and I believe that at some point Chris Roberts honestly was trying to make the best damn space sim ever, but I think that he long abandoned that idea. I think he liked the idea of real ships, as in yachts, as in millions of dollars, as in nice cars. He liked all of that a lot more than making the best space sim ever. And the business went from being backers supporting the development of a game into a business model that revolves around selling ships for people to fly in this tech demo. Yes, the ships are very nice. That's why we are here. That's why most of us are here, because we like the ships. And the truth is that if there was anything that offered this similar experience of not just a volume that you fly around, but actually a ship that you can walk around like you just saw me doing, then the freedom of moving around from one planet to the other and landing in places and exploring and many of the things that Star Citizen itself does not even offer, well, that we would be doing that instead. So what you have to understand here is that people that are talking about Starfield and Star Citizen not being comparable, they are right. One used to be a game in development. Now it's basically a service by which you buy ships that you fly around in the PU, but it is not a true game. There's no release date in sight. Any game that is in active development has a release date in sight, even though that release date may change or the game may be delayed. When you don't have a roadmap, when you don't have a schedule to fulfill, when there's no progression, 10%, 50% of the game done, when there's none of that, and the only focus of the company is developing new ships or sometimes just selling the concepts of new ships, it's quite clear where their money is going. The money is going into capitalizing the company in terms of real estate, in terms of other assets that the company has, and then in terms of development, devs are working mostly on new ships to sell. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, I think the game, is worth. Again, not a game. I think that the Star Citizen is worth your $45, $50 if you wanna give it a try. Again, you have the referral code there below. You'll get 5,000 credits of extra money. That's going to be useful when you start playing. And yeah, you fly around. You have, let me just show you, you have these 4 planets, right? You have 4 planets and they have a couple moons each, a couple moons here. ArcCorp, that's a planet with a city, and the moons, barren moons with just stations for you to go mining and sell whatever it is that you mined or haul. You have 3 moons here. This is a gas planet, so no landing here, just one city here and not actual planet. It's just a gas giant, so you cannot walk that surface. There's a bigger station here in Yela called let me show you Grim Hex. That's like a piratey station that is quite nice, has a lot of character. You have Hurston with a city, and again, 4 moons, mostly for mining, and you stop in those mining outposts and you can load up in cargo and just take it to one place or the other. And then you have Microtech. This is maybe the nicest planet, and it has a little bit more vegetation, and again, 3 barren moons with a couple spots for you to go doing bunker runs and so on. But let's say you start playing Star Citizen because you saw an ad in YouTube saying, play now, it's a real game. Well, what you will find out as soon as you get in here, there's not a true game. There's no end game here. Even in an open world such as Red Dead Redemption, there is a story. You are playing something. There's NPCs for you to interact. The NPCs in Star Citizen have not been developed. They're just standing in chairs most of the time. So you will find that there's, what did I do now? Well, you have the absolute freedom of doing anything you want. When they tell you that, that's another way of saying that there's really nothing for you to do other than just running a few of these game loop dash missions. You go here in your contract manager and you find a bunch of things that are very buggy and often don't even work. That's just the truth of this. So often not even working, you just have to accept that. Most of the time you will find bugs, you will find something that breaks what you're trying to do. Many of these those of us that have been in Star Citizen for a while, we don't even bother because we know how buggy they are. And then they have like a fail rate of 50% or more. So some of those you avoid entirely. Delivering boxes fails often. Mercenary, which involves the combat missions with your ship, those would be the ones that work best. But in terms of game development, even that is being changed. Guns pretty much all do the same damage no matter what kind of laser cannon or laser repeater it is or what ballistic it is. It's all kind of the same thing. So, and they're even talking about changing how you even fly and do combat. But you have to get used to the idea that when people try to compare Star Citizen to Starfield, again, laughable, but when they try to do that, then they tell you about how, well, Bethesda does buggy games. This is the most buggy experience you'll ever have. Get used to sometimes not even working, you not even being able to claim your ship to fly it, and at times you just have to accept that you will not be doing anything in Star Citizen that day. I mean, by God, it wasn't about a month ago that we spent a month without it being able to log in. Chris Roberts also likes saving money in servers, so he spends as little money as possible in servers. Sometimes they're just full of people and they are crashing and just not working. I mean, for people that are fanboys of Star Citizen, they will be glad when people start moving over to Starfield because servers will be running better. But the idea that, it's a single player, it's not a multiplayer game like Star Citizen, not a game and not an MMO, tech demo, and yeah, ships are nice, are very nice. That's why we give it a try. We do our best and try to navigate all the messiness that this is at times. But it is laughable to try to compare a company that has accepted that their business model is just selling ships, and anything they do, what little they do, it revolves around some new game loop. For example, the salvaging. Well, that's about trying to sell people the vulture. And what about refueling? Something that no reasonable human being ever did. Here, well, that's one more thing they try to do. They try to sell you a ship for things that don't even work. So, am I angry, salty, upset? Not. I'm just being honest. So, if you actually ended up in this video because you're thinking of playing Star Citizen, worth your $45-50. Buy the cheapest ship there is. Trust me on that. You don't want to make a mistake of thinking, I'll just buy this because eventually it will be different. No. You need to accept that what you see right now in Star Citizen is basically all you'll ever see because there's no financial incentive to do anything else, anything different from what you have here right now. So you do the quantum travel thing, you jump from one place to the other, and yeah, there's no loading screen. There are elevators and trains and little shuttles that is going to be much longer than any loading screen that you'll find in Starfield. That's for sure. So be more than okay with wasting time. You'll be wasting time claiming your ships. If your ship is destroyed because you tried to land in a hangar and your ship just exploded for no reason whatsoever, you will have to waste several minutes claiming the ship that just blew up for no reason. If you blew up because you tried to leave a hangar, same thing. You'll waste time there as well. And you can do this seamless transition from space into, the surface of the moon, and you go into the third person, all things that you have in Starfield as well. But yeah, you don't have any cutscenes or loading scenes or anything like that. But these moons, well, these moons are empty. What you have is these outposts that have just a couple buildings in them and little else. You go to these places to buy cargo, and if you don't suffer a 30k, maybe you drop that cargo successfully elsewhere. And sometimes you do combat in these things, and sometimes you have security posts like this one where you do the worst possible FPS you've seen in any video game ever. The hostiles are often inactive, just not moving at all, and they're just standing there for you to shoot. And when they do shoot, sometimes you have them just crash through you and shoot you through walls, and you just get shot in the most idiotic way possible. And that is also something you have to come to terms with. It is quite terrible the way FPS is. It is in the most boring possible, same place over and over, and you just do it because you're just doing the grind. You're trying to make a little bit more money to buy a ship in this game instead of spending real money in it, which makes all the sense in the world. There's not a whole lot else for you to do anyway, so you do just that. But again, you have to accept that that's what it is. The same bunker, always, over and over, the worst FPS experience you will see anywhere. Again, laughable when Star Citizen fanboys complain about the potential bugs that Starfield will, in theory, have, even though they are just saying that will be the least buggy game they ever release, which is very encouraging. But to complain about bugs against Bethesda when you're in Star Citizen, that is beyond ridiculous. But again, it is just what it is. It is a super buggy tech demo that we love and hate wasting our time on. But, you have the cool graphics. Look at my guy, how awesome he looks. That's pretty cool. He has his gun, right? And when it fails, when it explodes, when you just literally drop dead for no reason walking downstairs, it's just something that surprises new players a lot. Well, you just accept that it's not even an alpha. There's no intention to ever release a game here. It is a tech demo with some pretty ships. Beautiful. Like in no other game you'll ever find. But just that. And it will most likely never change. It will be this thing that we have here until the company runs out of people willing to fund it. Guys, brutal honesty. If you appreciated that, let me know in the comments below. More than welcome to answer those questions. See you in the next video. Take care.